ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
John Boyd is a very intelligent guy and also quite the character, which I appreciate. If there's one thing I appreciate more than intelligence, it's that razor-sharp wit, and John Boyd has both in spades. He is the principal of the Boyd Company. John Boyd, welcome back to the program. It's great to talk to you.
Frank, it's great to be with you, and thanks for that great intro.
My pleasure. John, for people unfamiliar with you, your background, and your work, what is the Boyd Company? What do you guys do?
Our firm counsels corporations and developers where to locate projects throughout North America. And we also, advise cities and states how to attract new economic development activity.
All right. Well, I think that certainly covers a lot of ground. You're the first person I thought of when looking for someone to analyze what Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are doing with DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Before we get into the specifics, give me your overall thoughts on the idea of this department and where do you see it going?
This is really an exciting initiative. Americans want accountability from elected officials. They want a better return on their hard-earned tax dollars. Okay, and who better to take on the federal bureaucracy than the great disruptor Elon Musk? Okay, Musk has disrupted industries like transportation, energy, the space industry, healthcare, multimedia. Now he's turning his attention to the federal bureaucracy. And Frank, from a political theater perspective, he and Musk, Trump and Musk, have a lot in common. Okay, the two most famous business people on the planet, and more than that, they've embraced their celebrity to advance their business, their political, and even their cultural influence. So this is a very exciting initiative, and just the fact that Americans are talking about accountability and cutting waste, I think, advances the interests of the U.S. taxpayer.
Is this going to go differently from other government efficiency commissions or other commissions that have been designed to narrow the budget deficit? I'm thinking most recently of the Simpson-Bowles Commission, which I thought actually had some good ideas, but ultimately their recommendations went nowhere. They weren't even totally approved by the commission itself. What makes this different than other previous attempts to do something like this?
I think just the acumen and the star power of Elon Musk, the innovative approaches that have proven successful in his private businesses, like return to office mandates, which will be a very effective cost-cutting initiative for the federal bureaucracy, and also some of the new proposals here. I think this crowdsourcing platform to invite the ideas of smart people around the country, similar to online gaming platforms. That's something new and interesting. I think you're seeing a lot of high-profile, respected, influential CEOs like Bill Ackman weigh in with some of the waste at the USDA, and there are very tangible, real ways here. You think about the mandate that Trump has, winning the popular vote, controlling both the House and the Senate. I think this idea of starting with the Pentagon displayed some political acumen. Yesterday, Bernie Sanders came out and talked about how the Pentagon cannot pass an audit successfully. This idea of the F-35 being antiquated and actually dangerous to pilots versus autonomous drones and aircraft. So that's an early example of why I believe this initiative will be successful.
At 30 minutes after the hour, this is The Other Side of Midnight. My guest is John Boyd of the Boyd Company. So with that, the mention of the Pentagon and Bernie Sanders indicating his encouragement of looking at the Pentagon, that indicates everything's on the table, right? Including programs conservatives like, programs Democrats like, anything and everything.
Right. Initially, when this program was announced, you thought about some of the more contentious agencies like Planned Parenthood, or the FBI and the IRS, Department of Education. But I think the IRS and the FBI are especially interesting. There's 90,000 IRS agents. The tax code today is 35 million words. You make one mistake, you can they'll throw you in a cage. Okay, and I think that's a example of a potential relocation out of the D.C. Beltway to perhaps one of the new Wall Streets, maybe a Dallas or a Charlotte or a Florida, to sort of attract new talent and to cut costs.
One of the criticisms of this is that maybe this was a little bit of a lark. The name DOGE is named for Elon Musk's favorite cryptocurrency, which is named from a dog, right? So a lot of people may have difficulty taking seriously a government entity that's named for a dog-based cryptocurrency. What do you say to those folks that may have a difficult time viewing this with much gravitas?
I think he's made light of that also, but I think crypto is nothing to laugh about. This will be an administration that will be one of the most pro crypto administration that we've seen. Trump has talked about using crypto as a tool to take on the national deficit. So, I don't make much of that per se, but it's just another example of this administration really conducting itself like a private company, okay, and embracing some of these new and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, like quantum computing, and of course, cryptocurrency.
What about this goal of $2 trillion? That's apparently Elon Musk's goal. It's pretty ambitious. How realistic do you think that is, given the constraints of mandatory and discretionary spending?
It's ambitious, but the common denominator that you'll hear throughout these government agencies is redundant staff and redundant processes. Okay, and each and every one of these federal agencies has billions of dollars of redundant staff and duplication of activities within these departments. There's three major ways I think they're going to proceed here. Okay, number one is obviously slashing the workforce. Okay, relocating agencies out of the Beltway to lower cost areas and to attract new talent, and to closely scrutinize government contracts like we just saw with the F-35. The other sort of under the radar screen way to get efficiencies is to really promote the back to office mandate. And they were quick out of the gate. In fact, the first thing they did was announce back to the office for federal workers.
That's not going to be $2 trillion, though, is it?
There's over 1 million federal workers today that are working remotely. Okay, that translates into hundreds of millions of vacant office space, billions of dollars each year and every year, the federal government. And that's money the U.S. taxpayers is flushing down the toilet.
Wow.
That's sort of the low-hanging fruit and again, private sector employees are faced now with back-to-office mandates. Right. It might not be 5 days a week, but maybe it's 4 days a week. And even workers that are not faced with return-to-office mandates feel the pressure to get back into the office to meet performance metrics or to network or to make yourself more available for promotions.
Yeah, you have our own Matt Blaze reconsidering his career choices here.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for? Now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
At Sephora, we've got what you want because you're obsessed with your skin, and we're obsessed with what it needs. Sephora has the best products to help you get beautiful, glowing, radiant skin. With an extensive, inclusive range of results-driven formulas and in-store beauty advisors to help you find exactly which are right for you, the best skincare is only at Sephora. Sephora, for all your skincare.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
This episode is brought to you by Factor. Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals are dietitian-approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code LISTEN50 for 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50, code LISTEN50. T's and C's apply.
This, if you're just tuning in, this is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Frank Morano. We're talking with John Boyd about Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy's new entity, DOGE, which is apparently getting serious. They're going to Capitol Hill this week to meet with members of Congress. A lot of Republicans have some ideas, but a lot of Democrats also have ideas on what's going to be cut out of the budget. John, a lot of people are hearing what you're saying, what Musk is saying, and what Ramaswamy is saying, and conservatives are fearful that, whoa, wait a minute, we're going to mothball the military. We need to be pumping more money into the military, not cutting it. A lot of people on the other side of the political spectrum might say, wait a minute, the only way they can make those kind of cuts that we're talking about here are through slashing things like Medicare and Social Security, which especially a lot of senior citizens may take issue with. How concerned should people be about that?
I think if the past is the prologue, I think a lot of those concerns are grossly overstated. Trump is someone, and one of the big concerns you heard about was, Veterans Affairs. I mean, the veterans are fundamental to his political brand and political identity. I mean, you think about the Mission Act, which I don't think got that much attention during his first term, which really expanded access to private health care for veterans. He's not talked about taking on Medicare or Medicaid services. He's actually avoided identifying those areas and talked about some of the other departments that are loaded with government waste. But even in those areas, there are duplicate staff. There are ways to automate a lot of these job functions and incorporating artificial intelligence, just the way that private sector companies are doing today, Frank, or planning to do by the end of the decade. Why doesn't the American taxpayer deserve that type of accountability from the government?
A lot of folks are wondering what lessons we might be able to learn from Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter. Musk has emphasized some of the things that you've mentioned here, dismantling bureaucracy, slashing regulations. What lessons from the Twitter restructuring might apply to the federal government? And obviously, with the federal government, there's a lot of other stakeholders, whereas if you own the company, you could essentially do what you want. What sort of risks might he encounter in this area as opposed to Twitter?
Well, clearly this is a different animal, okay, that working with federal bureaucrats, working in the political environment is much different than running a private company. But again, he is uniquely able to do this, given his experience competing for government contracts. I mean, he has a unique insight into how these government contracts are created. He sort of knows the political gamesmanship behind that. Think about how Biden left him out of the EV summit, or how just most recently Gavin Newsom in California declared that Tesla will not be eligible for new state electric vehicle incentives. So I think he sort of brings that institutional wisdom with him to all of this. And again, a lot of this there'll be an element of showmanship here. I think this crowdsourcing, I think, is interesting, and putting a spotlight on some of the more egregious examples of government waste. It's sort of a rallying cry, and this is a unique moment in American history. Americans are fed up with inflation. Okay, they're still mad at their government for being lied to with the lockdowns and the damage that did to our economy and creating a public health crisis. This is a moment, and there's a sense that if this will ever happen, I think it might be right now.
It's going to be very interesting to see where it goes from here, and how it's received, and what sort of resistance there is from members of Congress on this. That is absolutely for sure. Do you think that maybe, if we're talking about cryptocurrency, as we've seen with the rise in Bitcoin over the last year and a half, they're often seen as hedges against inflation. Could Dogecoin's integration into the government, could that serve as a tool to manage inflation, or maybe even the national debt, or is that a little too naive?
No, a lot of analysts are expecting this administration to do that, to actually increase buy volumes of Bitcoin and use that during price surges to help pay down the national deficit. And one other thought, Frank, to your point about the political contentiousness of cutting government agencies. Initially you think about elected officials being concerned about, I keep using this F-35, which is manufactured in Fort Worth. But I mean, that type of project, that'll create opportunities for that workforce to get hired by other advanced manufacturers in that area. Okay, or you think about all of the wasted government federal office building real estate, not just in the D.C. Beltway, but in states like California and Texas and then Florida. That's real estate primed for redevelopment into needed housing, okay, or for new tech companies expanding in Northern Virginia, like Amazon, for example. They're having difficulty finding new office space. So this also creates an opportunity for landlords that really have been really taking a beating with the post-COVID economic recovery and the high financing rates and the working at home reality that has hurt the commercial real estate industry.
Let me also ask you about the issue of deficits and debt in general. A lot of folks look at what we heard from President Trump during the campaign: no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security payments. And I'm sure there's a number of other categories that I'm leaving out. And they'll say that, wait a minute, a lot of these tax cuts that President Trump proposed could widen the deficit even further. How do you see that? Could Musk's strategies help balance this out while maintaining these $2 trillion worth of cuts?
Absolutely. And when we think about our nation's business climate, we think about taxes and trade policy and regulations. All of that is critical, but so is accountability, especially when you're trying to attract foreign direct investment. I think this is already being used. These initiatives will be promoted and throughout the world to really enhance the desirability of the U.S. as a place for foreign capital. So, and this is an administration, I think, again, it passes prologue, that is really focused on economic development, keeping the tax rate at 21%. We know that the more you tax something, the less you get from it, the less you get of it, right? And we saw that during the Trump's first term in office.
John Boyd, principal of the Boyd Company. You could check out their website if you're in need of some advice, either in terms of locations or anything else. Go to theboydcompany.com. That's theboydcompany.com. John, thanks for staying up late with us. I look forward to seeing you on New Year's Eve.
I can't wait, Frank. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, John Boyd. If you want to comment on any portion of our discussion, feel free to give me a call, 646-720-0635. That's 646-720-0635. This is The Other Side of Midnight. Straight ahead.